Hey guys, Lemon Square here with a video on how to set up your user interface. I've had a lot of questions lately from people who want help setting up their keybinds or macros or add-ons for Arena and what have you. So instead of explaining it a million times, I'm just going to go ahead and make this video and just tell you guys to go there. So starting off, the placement of your UI is actually really important. A lot of people play with just the basic UI where you have your character frames up in the top, and then you have your arena frames over on the side, and you have all your buttons spread out along the bottom of your keyboard, near the bottom of your screen. And it's actually really inconvenient because you're looking everywhere. And like, say if my eyes were up here in this top left corner, I'm not seeing what's being cast on Gladius. I'm not seeing when important cooldowns are coming up on my bar. And I'm also having a hard time keeping track of what's going on right around my character. So the most important thing is keeping the information that you need to know in a place where it's really easy for you to see without stressing your eyes too much, looking up here to try to find how much mana you have left, and then go down here to see how long till your mana tides up, and at the same time making sure you don't get polyed by some derp mage. So make sure that all the information you need to see is in a place where you can easily see it. As you can see, I have my arena frames over here. I have my focus frame right there so I can keep track of it. I have my party frames, and I have this middle area of my screen completely clear because just as important as being able to see stuff like cast bars, it's also important to see where your character is. And like, say if I'm trying to line of sight on the Runes of Lordaeron using the tomb and I have some add-on that's right there in the corner, I'm not actually going to be able to see him coming around to be able to get a CS on me, and I may accidentally get interrupted and get a full lockout, which of course sucks, the big one. So it's really important to make sure that the information you need, fuck you Neff, get off my face, is where you can see it. I use two add-ons for this. The first one is Move Anything, and you can actually set it up by typing /move, and that gives you little options. So like focus, for example, if I click right here, I can move my focus frame, or I can resize it, or I can change where my focus casting bar is. As you can see, I have it down here, and it's fucking gigantic. So that way I can make sure to avoid CC. I usually set that to the CC targets, and I can make sure that it's right there and it's huge so I don't miss an incoming poly or something like that. So that's how you use Move Anything. Another one is Bartender. I like to have all my buttons pretty close together where I can see them so I'm not looking all over my screen. I have these weird ones over here, but those ones don't have cooldowns, so I never have to worry about it. If you notice this little box right here, I have a Razor Naga, and that's where those buttons are. For me, visually, that helped me out getting used to it. So yeah, I have all that stuff right there at the bottom, and I use Bartender to set that up. I have all my shift binds. I press shift, and then the bars change to those shift binds while I'm holding it down. That helps save space also, which is just as important as having it where you need it to be. Okay, on to keybinds. First I'll go over what I use for movement, because I see a lot of people who waste keys with keyboard turning like this, which is a waste of time because you're going so much slower than if you used your mouse to turn. So I actually have W as run for when I'm actually using my mouse and I can't hold both mouse buttons down, and then I have A and D set as strafe, so I can just move back and forth. I don't have any keyboard turning because strafe used to be Q and E, and those are really convenient keybinds, and I'll go over that in just a second. So that's what I use for movement, and I mostly use shift modifiers because control's in an awkward place. The most important thing when you're setting up your keybinds is that you need to bind absolutely everything that you're ever going to use. If you'll notice, I even have my mounts bound and my water bound and my unleash elements bound, or earth living weapon bound, because even clicking your mount can waste some time that could be better used otherwise. So make sure that everything you're ever going to need is bound, so that way you're not clicking anything, because clicking wastes so much time, and you may think that you're a pretty efficient clicker, but you'd be amazed at how fast you can be when you bind everything because of muscle memory and whatnot, and not having to look around at your screen. So there's some keybinds that are definitely more convenient than others. Like I would say for me, with my hands and where I keep them, 1, 2, 4, Q, E, R, F, G, and my grave key are all really easy for me to get to, so I have my most important spells bound there. 3 is kind of awkward, and I have a good chance of accidentally hitting 2, so I put that as Frost Shock because I don't use it that often. So you want to find out the spells that are most important for you and the ones that are most important that you hit efficiently, and then find the keys that are most convenient for you to move your fingers to. And you can bind anything on your keyboard. I have Grave through 5 bound, QERT, S, FG, ZXCVBN, all bound. My S key, since you don't want to be backpedaling, since you move a lot slower, I use S key for my Ghost Wolf just because I kind of relate the S key to movement, and Ghost Wolf is a movement spell, so that's what I do. So yeah, you want to find out which spells are necessary, which keys are convenient, and then which spells are also important, and then figure out, put your most important spells in your most convenient keys. And then everything else, as it becomes less important, it can go in a less convenient key. If you have stuff set to like U, there's a good chance that while you're moving your hand there, you might accidentally press Y. So if you have two big cooldowns right next to each other in an awkward place, there's a good chance you'll fat finger something important. And, well, that's of course is bad. If you're ever shopping for a new mouse, by the way, get a Naga because it is absolutely amazing. Moving on to macros. I'm not going to go over specifics on macros. I'm just going to go over different kinds of macros and how you can use them. From a healer point of view, you definitely want to have some very convenient targeting and dispel macros because that's really important. Do not be afraid to bind your mouse wheel. As you can see, if I use my mouse wheel down, it targets Arantala. And let's say if I'm targeting myself, if I press shift mouse wheel down, it dispels Arantala because you waste a lot of time targeting people and then going to a dispel. If I know that like Dirt Mage in Arena 1 is casting Poly and I don't want to shear it or I can't ground it or something, and I know that it's going to land, I can just be ready, not have to target him or anything, just press shift mouse wheel down and it's instantly gone. It's almost like you didn't even get polymorphed. So those are really important. Keybinds and macros for that is really simple. It's just slash target space the guy's name, or slash cast space in a bracket at Arantala. It's not like I'll show you. It's right here. I have show tooltip because I like to see the cleanse thing. It's just slash cast bracket Arantala close bracket cleanse spirit, and I set that for both of my arena partners. You can also macro a lot of your cooldowns together. So besides casting spells on targets that you're not targeting using the @target command, you can just mash a bunch of stuff together. Like if you're a rep paladin, you know that you're going to use 5 cooldowns all at the same time. You're actually wasting a lot of time by hitting each and every individual key when you always use those together. Like your trinket and your wings, most rep paladins always use together. So you can just make a macro that's, slash cast Avenging Wrath and then slash use your trinket or your DPS trinket, and that'll speed things up a lot. Speed of play is really important in Arena. The faster you can play and the faster you can do the things that you need to, the better player you're going to be, and then people are going to see you and be like, oh my god, he's so good. So yeah, I guess, as you can see over here, I have macros set, which is usually a thing that people overlook, is 1, 2, 3 macros. For a shaman, I have Purge and Wind Shear. So instead of at Arantala, I put at Arena 1, and that means that if I click this button right here, it's going to shear Arena 1. So that's really convenient. I don't have to detarget anything. I'm not wasting time going over to click him just to wind shear when usually it's a pretty short cast that I'm trying to wind shear, or it's really important that it gets sheared. So I speed up my gameplay by not having to target them. Oh, let's see what else. What other freaking macros? It's important that you have those for anything that you use on all 3 of them. So say if you're going hard on this rogue right here, and this guy's casting a heal, and you don't have an interrupt, and he's too far out of interrupt range, and you really don't want that heal to land, if you have like a Death Grip 1 macro set, it'll Death Grip the priest and it'll interrupt it. So you can imagine how convenient that would be, or Repentance, or Hodge, or you can use that for, at Arantala for Word of Glory, or Shield if you're a Shadow Priest and you're not targeting them, all that good stuff. It saves you a lot of time and it makes you a lot faster. So there's a couple add-ons that I want to go over before I let you guys go and try some of this stuff out. First one is Gladiator LOS. It tells me when enemies are using important cooldowns. So if somebody was casting Polymorph, it would say Polymorph. If they cast Avenging Wrath, it'll say Avenging Wrath. And how that helps is you're using your ears to keep track of what's going on instead of also trying to use your eyes, because you're already using your eyes to look at frames and buttons and whatnot and where you're running. So it kind of splits up the job of keeping track of everything between your eyes and your ears, which has helped me out a lot in keeping track and being efficient. Another one is interrupt bar. I'll show you a test. It's a little add-on right here that lists different interrupts that people have, and then it tells me how long they're up. So like say if I start casting and I juke, rebuke doesn't give me any kind of like visual notification that they rebuked, like say Mind Freeze does. So it's hard to tell when a paladin rebukes. So if you have this add-on, it's just going to go ahead and show you it and show you how long till it's up, so you know how long you can free cast. So like if I'm dueling Arantala here, or fighting Arantala, you know, and he's going hard or whatnot, if I start casting,
Skull bash.
see, he skull bashed me, and now I know that I have 6 seconds left where I can cast, which is important for any kind of caster, healer, or DPS. That's a really great add-on to have. Another one is lose control. It gives me a little icon over names. So here, cyclone me.
Cyclone.
See, it gives me a little icon that tells me how long I have to be cycloned left. And if he cycloned his partner, do it again. Say like, here's my target. It comes up over here, and you can set the same thing for your party members also, so that helps out a lot. Another one is Omni CC, which gives me a little number. So like say if I use Mana Tide, I have 3 minutes left, I can just see that instead of just looking at the little hourglass. Or if I use, you know, a Riptide, I know that I can cast another one in 4, 3, 2, 1. It's really convenient for being able to know exactly when you can do a spell again. It's kind of basic, but it actually helps out a lot. All of this stuff helps gameplay speed, and I know that that's what a lot of people are having problems with, is being able to do everything they want to fast enough. See, he used Feral Charge, and it showed it. Even if it's not cast on you, it shows it. So yeah, what's another add-on I use? Fuck. Derp. Well, there's more, but I can't remember them. If you need help with an add-on, I've used pretty much almost every add-on that's worth using in PvP before, usually extensively, because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out a UI that works for me. I also have used a lot of macros. Some are super complicated, so I know a lot of macro scripting, so if you need help with that, you can also hit me up. Any questions about any of this stuff, any add-ons, any tips that I may not have mentioned or that you're curious about or want more information about, you can just hit me up in game. It's pretty easy to find me. My paladin's name is Otto on Alliance side and Lemon Squared with a D on Horde side, or you can just get me on Real ID. So yeah, so this is my video on the user interface, made for some beginners. I know I'm not the most amazing player, but I do have a lot of tips when it comes to your UI and your add-ons and your macros and whatnot. So hopefully this helps some people out, get their gameplay speed up, and hopefully we see some higher ratings on Ysandra. So yeah, this is Lemon Square, and that's Arantala, the fucking retarded feral standing in front of me. His rogue is still on Ysandra, by the way, it's Halora. Okay, well hopefully this helps.